So boiler it is nothing but a steam generating device. Correct? We are talking about steam. We are not talking about vapors. So whenever it is said it is a boiler, boiler means steam. Steam means it is a vapor form of water. So boiler is specifically mentioned for water to generate a steam. Okay. So many times it is said steam boiler, but in general it is called a boiler, and itself a boiler means a steam generator. Yeah. Now first we will check out what is its layout, and then we will move on further. So suppose this is a boiler. So boiler must have one boiling unit, boiling chamber, and where we supply feed water. Now from this feed water we have to generate steam. So we must have furnace unit. So furnace unit where we burn fuel. Correct? And for burning of fuel, we require oxygen. Oxygen we are not supplying separately, it is with the help of air only. So we are supplying air and fuel. That air fuel get burned in this furnace. Whatever be the heat evolved, that heat is supplied to boiler, and boiler convert this water into steam. This is generated steam. So whatever be the outlet from this boiler is called generated steam. So this generated steam may a dry steam, may be a wet steam. It depends on the condition, working condition. We don't know. But whatever be the generated steam is there, we have a unit that is called superheater. So that unit is used to superheat the generated steam. But the energy which is utilized for superheating is not a separate burning of fuel. Whatever be the fuel burned here in furnace, so in furnace we have to supply fuel. Suppose a coal. Then we have to supply air. This is combustion air. Then air and fuel get burned. Whatever be the heat available during combustion, it is supplied to water. But it doesn't mean all heat generated is supplied to water for conversion into steam. Some heat will be lost, and some heat will be carried away by hot flue gases. So whatever be the fuel burns, it is converting that chemical energy into heat energy, and that heat energy will travel along with that hot flue gases. When that hot flue gases come in contact with the boiler unit, it will deliver heat, and that portion utilized for steam generation. But the remaining heat, remaining flue gases are exhausted. So it will coming out without delivering heat to boiler. And even though whatever the flue gases come in a contact of boiler unit, it is not going to stay there. It will come in contact and slide down. Correct? So whatever be the contact time is there, that much amount it can deliver, and remaining flue gases still having some energy. So all these hot flue gases coming out. So hot flue gases having a larger temperature. First intention of this to deliver heat to water for steam generation. Then after it having a whatever be the heat, we have to recover it. So all these hot flue gases, in a first instant, it is passed through a superheater. So there is a superheater. Many times it is asked in your oral the sequence of arrangement of these devices, boiler accessories. So this is superheater. So whatever be the hot flue gases, highest temperature after delivering heat to boiler unit, these hot flue gases passing through this unit where your generated steam passing through the tubing, and outside this there is a hot gases. So generated steam again heated and it become superheat, and this superheated steam is supplied. So this superheated steam is supplied to utility point. We don't know what is the utility of this superheated steam. It may be used to run the prime mover, it may be used for any other purpose. This centigrade water we are directly supplying to boiler. Now heat is required to convert that 30 degree centigrade water into steam. That means that 30 degree centigrade water at least we have to heat up to 100. That means 70-degree temperature rise should be there. That much amount of heat we have to supply. Now imagine whatever be the exhaust gases are passing after superheater, these heat is utilized to preheat this feed water. Still we having a 30 degree centigrade water, but this time we are supplying through this economizer unit. So economizer unit utilize the waste heat of these flue gases to preheat this feed water. Now imagine after preheating, it becomes 50 degrees centigrade. Now to boiler, we are not supplying 30 degrees centigrade water. We are supplying 50 degrees centigrade water. That means our requirement is only to rise its temperature up to 50. Previously, it required to rise 70. That means if we are rising its temperature through 50 only, that means we have to supply lesser amount of heat. Lesser amount of heat is required. That means we required to burn lesser amount of fuel. Lesser amount of fuel. That means your cost will reduce. That means this unit economize your running cost. So name suggested as an economizer. Here, even though after economizer, still your flue gas is having some temperature. So we are interested to recover that heat also. So after economizer, whatever be the flue gas is having energy, we utilize that energy to preheat air. So that is air preheater. So this is the unit air preheater. Economizer is nothing but a water preheater, but as it economize the system majorly, so it suggested the economizer. But this is simply air preheater. Here also, before air preheater, we have to supply combustion air with the help of air blower. And this air blower taking air from atmosphere. Now, from blower, we are supplying this combustion air to first air preheater, where waste heat is recovered and our air get preheated to some extent, so that whatever the moisture content or wetness of that air, it is reduced, and that reduced moisture content or preheated air is actually supplied to combustion chamber. So this is preheated air. Many times it is simply called as combustion air. What is its requirement? Imagine in a rainy season, even though we are saying the air, we don't sense the humidity, but that air having a lot of water vapors. Correct? If that kind of air, wet air is supplied for combustion, so some part of heat is utilized to get dry, to remove the moisture from that air. Then after your air taking part in combustion, that's when combustion take place. But what happened? That combustion heat, some part is wasted to remove the moisture of air. If you are supplying a wet fuel, so fuel will directly not going to burn. First, that heat will remove the moisture from wet fuel, and then fuel starting burning. That will, whatever be the moisture content, it is extracting the heat. Otherwise, it is available for steam generation. So, preheating of air or preheating of water is reducing your fuel cost. And after that, whatever be the heat remain, we exhaust it into atmosphere. But this system having a norms, pollution norms, we cannot exhaust it at a ground level. We have to use chimney. So at particular height, we have to exhaust that exhaust gases. Below that, it is not allowed. Just like a QC norms, vehicle must have QC. Same kind of norms are there for any industry who is going to exhaust all these flue gases. There is a norm that much height of chimney should be there, and after that height, you can exhaust your flue gases into atmosphere. Clear? So these three are used for improvement purpose. Superheater improving the quality of steam, so our output will be more. Economizer improving total overall running cost. Air preheater improving air quality, so reducing the heat losses. So all these are known as boiler accessories. Clear? So now in this, whatever be the coal burn in furnace, we found unburned portion, that is called ash content. So we have to remove that ash content. Otherwise, coal furnace will fill with ash. There will be no space to supply the fuel. So this is the overall boiler system. Whenever it is asked in your exam, you have to draw this system. Clear? Now, there are few terms which are utilized to analyze its performance, to check the performance. So boiler performance is checked or measured or analyzed by three different things. One is equivalent evaporation. Equivalent evaporation. Why it is used? Suppose I have a boiler, small capacity, it is generating steam. Some bigger industry having a larger capacity boiler, it is generating steam. So there must be a very common factor by which we can compare whether all boilers are satisfying minimum requirement or minimum standards. For that, we have equivalence evaporation. So on the basis of equivalent evaporation, we can check any boiler whether it is efficient or not. Its performance is up to the mark or not. Now, what is equivalent evaporation? So, equivalent evaporation is denoted by ME. Now it is a ratio of total amount of steam generated. So many times it is suggested MS, as for steam. Many times it is suggested MW. This MW means mass of water. But which mass of water? That portion of mass of water which get converted into steam. Okay, suppose we are supplying 10 liter of water. Out of that, 2 liter get converted into steam. So this MW will be a 2 liter which is converted into steam. Okay, so many books having a different notation. If it is a mass of steam or mass of water, but this water is nothing but that portion of water which is converted into steam. Multiply by. It is assumed that steam generation is up to certain enthalpy H minus HF1. So enthalpy change divided by HFG, that is enthalpy of evaporation of water. This enthalpy is at boiler condition. This enthalpy is at atmospheric condition. So suppose I am running a boiler of 10 kg capacity and at suppose 5 bar condition. So whatever be the MW, H or HF, I will search on 5 bar condition. Correct? Suppose any bigger industry is there, they having a boiler at 10 bar capacity, so they will check all these H or HF at 10 bar. If anyone having a 30 bar, so he will check 30 bar. That means whatever be the numerator, it belongs to actual boiler condition. But each time, whatever be the denominator, this denominator will be a standard for every boiler, and this denominator is considered at atmospheric condition. Atmospheric condition, that means 1.013 bar. And HFG is nothing but a enthalpy of evaporation at atmospheric condition. If we check on steam table, so we observe that at atmospheric condition, that is 1 atmospheric pressure, or it is equals to 1.013 bar. It is HFG is 2257 kilojoule per kg. So now, irrespective of any boiler, always denominator will be 2257. So here, from the equivalent evaporation, we come to know any boiler how it is going to perform if the datum is atmospheric condition. So on the basis of this, we can judge any boiler, any capacity boiler with the help of this equivalent evaporation. So we can't say that 100 bar capacity boiler will be more efficient than 10 bar capacity boiler. If we find the equivalent evaporation, and if we found 10 bar boiler having a more equivalent evaporation than 100 bar boiler, so we can say in comparison node of 100 bar boiler given high pressure steam, but on the basis of equivalent evaporation we can judge this 10 bar boiler is more giving a better performance. Clear? So for that we must have some standard. So standard is a denominator which is atmospheric condition. So atmospheric condition HFG is 2257 and numerator is at boiler condition. Clear? Now the second is boiler efficiency. First, equivalence evaporation, that is first condition. From this we can judge which boiler is more giving a more performance. Second is boiler efficiency. Now the main function of boiler is to generate steam. correct? And for generating steam, we are supplying fuel. So boiler efficiency is nothing but the ratio of what is the amount of heat utilized for steam generation divided by heat total supply. So suppose I am giving suppose 100 watt, 100 kilowatt energy, and out of that 100, only 60 is utilized for steam generation. That means 40 is wasted. That means our flue gases carrying heat 40%. 60 only utilizing for steam generation. So we can say this boiler is having efficiency 60%. If out of 100, suppose this boiler only utilizing 25% heat for steam generation, remaining is waste, so we can say the boiler efficiency is 25. So this is another factor through which we can judge which boiler is more efficient, which boiler performing better. Now steam heat utilized for steam. How it is going to calculate? Mass of water which is converted into steam multiplied by what will be the steam enthalpy minus HF. HF is that saturated fluid temperature, 100 degrees centigrade water, divided by heat supplied by fuel. So how much fuel you are supplying and what is the calorific value of that fuel? Now there is a question about this H. So let us see how that H affects. Suppose I am plotting this TS diagram, temperature versus entropy, and we know that we obtain this kind of dome shape. And now suppose I am plotting one pressure line. So when I supply water, then water is in liquid form, suppose 30 degrees centigrade. Then I am supplying heat, so its temperature rises, and it reaches to 100 degrees centigrade water. That means this is HF, correct? 100 degrees centigrade, saturated liquid. So enthalpy at saturated liquid. Then after water evaporated, phase change takes place, and last all water get converted into steam, dry steam. So this is saturated steam gas, Hg. So saturated fluid, HF, saturated vapors, Hg. So in between this, it is a mixture of fluid and gas. So in between this, it is a wet steam, which is denoted by HFG. Now wet steam may having a different dryness fraction, 10% dry, 20% dry, anything. So on wet steam, we may observe any particular dryness fraction. So X value will be there. Now imagine if your steam reach to this point. At this point, what is the condition of your steam? It is superheated. So it becomes T center. This HF means saturated fluid. So enthalpy at saturated fluid. So whatever be the pressure, we will find out what is HF. This HF means saturated fluid, enthalpy. This H may be anything. Suppose your steam generation is at this point and this having a dryness fraction X. So you supplied water at this point and you getting a steam of this quality. At this point your steam get exhausted from boiler unit. So what is H in that case? So in that case, H will be HF up to this HF plus this much. So it will be X plus into HFG. So in that case, H will be HF plus dryness fraction into HFG. So this is belongs to wet steam. Correct? If it is exact dry saturated vapor, exact dry saturated vapor means which point? Hg. So in that case, H will be equals to Hg, dry saturated steam. Suppose we are supplying water and that water is completely converted into steam and steam is a dry saturated. At this point we are obtaining our generated steam. So H of that steam will be Hg. But to reach Hg, we have to add HF plus this HFG. So Hg will be always equals to HF plus HFG. That means total HFG. And if your steam after boiler generation itself is a superheated, so in that case H will be H super. H super means at least it must have Hg. After that, whatever be the superheating. So Hg plus Cp of super in bracket T super minus T saturation. So this much will be your H in that case. So steam obtaining after boiler, either it will be a dry, so its enthalpy H will be equals to Hg. If it is wet, then its enthalpy will be HF plus X into HFG. If it is superheated, then your enthalpy will be Hg plus Cp in bracket T super minus T saturation. If you don't have Hg value, here we can put HF plus HFG. Clear? So whenever equivalent evaporation, so this H may be anything as per the given condition. If given is steam is superheated, in that case H will be this. If it is a wet steam, then H will be this. If it is a dry saturated steam, then H will be this. And HF, no doubt, HF will be the saturated liquid point enthalpy. Clear? Now the last point is, that is 3 points are there to check the performance. One is equivalence evaporation, second is boiler efficiency, and third point is heat balance. And we know very well what is heat balance sheet. Heat balance sheet is nothing but a heat account. Heat account of total heat supplied and total heat expenditure. Here, already we know how to draw that heat balance sheet. So maybe possible that any external examiner will ask you how you can judge the performance of any boiler. So there are 3 points, either by equivalent evaporation or boiler efficiency or by heat balance sheet. From this we can judge which boiler is better one. No doubt capacity wise all boiler are having different capacity, but whether higher pressure boiler is always better. So it will be judged on these 3 parameters. Clear? Okay. To elaborate that heat balance sheet, we have to must check one numerical. Write down statement. The boiler trial, following observations are recorded. Boiler trial, following observations are recorded. Steam generation is equals to steam generation is equals to 1520 kg per hour. Steam generation 1520 kg per hour. Temperature of feed water. Now, please pay attention. This is our total boiler system. After economizer, we are actually feeding the water into boiler unit. Correct? So, temperature of feed water means which? This one. Not the before economizer. If before economizer and after economizer such conditions are given, then we have to consider after economizer what is the temperature of water. That is actually feeding to the boiler unit. So temperature of feed water means this water temperature. Suppose it is denoted by T1. So temperature of feed water 30 degrees centigrade. So we are obtaining steam, mass of steam. It is 1520. I am not writing unit here. So 1520 kg per hour. What is the feed water temperature? It is 30 degrees centigrade. The dryness fraction of steam is 0.95. So X is given. That means what will be the generated steam is a wet steam with the dryness fraction 0.95. Steam is generated at 8.5 bar. So this is the generated steam pressure 8.5 bar. Total fuel burn is 200 kg per hour. So mass of fuel is given 200 kg per hour. So what will be the fuel supplied? This is mass of fuel 200 kg per hour. With a calorific value of 27300 kilojoule per kg. 27300 kilojoule per kg. Also, unburned carbon collected is 60 kg per hour. And its calorific value is 2000 kilojoule per kg. Kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Mass of flue gases. So what will be the total hot flue gases? Remove out that mass of flue gases is 17.73 kg per kg of coal. 17.73 kg per kg of coal. So if we are burning 200 kg of coal, so 17.73 into 200, this much amount of exhaust gas will be evolved. Correct? Next data is temperature of flue gases. So mass of gas we know, temperature of this flue gases is 330 degrees centigrade. So Tg is given 330 degrees centigrade. The boiler room temperature is 27 degrees centigrade. So boiler का atmosphere है. So TA, so atmospheric temperature is 30 degrees centigrade. Sorry, 27 degrees centigrade. Boiler room temperature, so boiler's atmosphere. So it is 27 degrees centigrade. And specific heat of gas, it is 1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. So Cp of gas is given 1. Atmospheric condition, that means TA is 27 degrees centigrade. Draw heat balance sheet per kg of fuel. Draw heat balance sheet per kg of fuel. Calculate boiler efficiency and equivalence ratio. Calculate boiler efficiency and equivalence ratio. Sorry, calorific value is kilojoule per kg. So make the correction. Calorific value for fuel is 27300 kilojoule per kg, and for that unburned carbon it is 2000 kilojoule per kg. So whenever such numerical is there, you have to draw this schematic, and on this schematic you have to give the notation. What is T1? What is Tg? Then after you use all these notation in your formula. Otherwise, nobody will come to know what is T1. You know what is T1, but examiner don't know what is T1. So in exam answer sheet, you have to draw schematic and there put this is the T1. Then he come to know the feed water temperature is denoted as T1. Correct? Now, what he said to draw heat balance sheet. Second, boiler efficiency. Third, equivalence, evaporation. Correct? So in short, I am going to explain. So here I am erasing now. So heat balance sheet having a number of calculations, correct? So we will start from boiler efficiency. So boiler efficiency. What it means? It is a ratio of heat required for steam generation divided by total heat supplied by fuel. So heat required by steam generation, suppose that is Q1, divided by total heat supplied by fuel, so Q supplied. So heat generated or heat conversion. How much steam is generated? It is generation rate, mass of steam. This much mass is generated, but the unit is kg per hour. Correct? So we know the mass. And this steam generation is required how much energy? So energy will be H minus HF. This much energy is required. HF means enthalpy at saturated liquid. H means enthalpy of this actual generated steam divided by total heat supplied. How much fuel is supplied? mm. Multiply by calorific value. Calorific value of fuel. not the unburned fuel, that carbon. Now here, mass of steam is given in kg per hour. Mass of fuel is given. What is the unit? Again, kg per hour. So always remember the unit must be common. Many times what happens? Steam generation rate kg per hour it is given and this kg per minute given. So we have to change it, balance it. Then this get cancelled. Clear? Now here HF and H it is dry vapor, wet vapor or superheated vapor. That means dry steam, wet steam or superheated steam. Wet steam. How we come to know? There is a dryness fraction 0.95. That means it is not 100% dry. So it is a wet steam. For wet steam, how we are calculating H? So H will be HF plus X into HFG. What is the steam generation pressure? At which pressure it is generating? So at pressure 8.5 bar. So for steam table at this particular pressure, we have to find out what is HF, what is HFG. Clear? This HF will be stand here again. Calorific value is given, mass of fuel is given, mass of steam generation is given, and from steam table at this particular pressure we come to know what is HF and HFG. Dryness fraction is given. So by putting all this, we come to know what is the boiler efficiency. Calculation part you do yourself later on. Okay. So we come to know what is boiler efficiency, and as it is efficiency, so we must put in a percentage. Now equivalence evaporation. Now equivalence evaporation is nothing but a total amount of heat in actual boiler condition for generating steam divided by 1 atmospheric pressure condition, total amount of heat required for steam generation. So equivalent ratio is mass of steam multiplied by H minus HFG, HF. So this much amount of heat is required in actual condition divided by HFG, making on 1 atmospheric condition. This is standard value. Even though in many books it is not written HFG, it is directly put in a 2257. So at 1 atmospheric, it is 2257. Whether we know mass of steam, we know H. In a previous step we calculated HF. So we know this value numerator. HFG is a standard. At 1 atmospheric pressure, it is 2257 kilojoule per kg. So we can find out how much is the requirement. Clear? So equivalence, and the last part is heat balance sheet. Now in heat balance sheet, first we have to calculate total heat supply, MS heat supply, that is MF into CV. Second part is for heat expenditure. First heat expenditure is generating the steam. Steam generation. So M steam into H minus HF. Second, heat carried away by flue gases. So mass of flue gases, Cp of flue gases into temperature change. So temperature change will be temperature of flue gases minus temperature of atmospheric air. Next, where heat is lost, unburned fuel, the carbon which is not burned, that much amount of heat is not utilized. Correct? So out of 200 kg of fuel per hour, 60 kg of fuel per hour is not producing heat. So this heat will be wasted. So this should be considered for unburned fuel. And fourth one is difference unaccounted. Then make a one tabulated sheet and put all the values. So that will be your